Welcome once again to Finding You Inside of You with Essence Evolve. And before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button at the bottom and don't forget to like. All right, so let's just get right to it. Today's topic is going to be your energy is being manipulated. And I'll repeat that again. Your energy, and I mean globally, your energy, our energy is being manipulated. Now, what do I mean by that? Picture a puppet on a string and picture us as being the puppet on the string. Humanity, people, individual communities, your gender, anything that has to do with a human being, okay? Our energy is being manipulated like a puppet. And what that means is this: use your imagination. I'm a puppet on a string. I didn't raise my hand. Something outside of me raised my hand for me. I didn't wink my eye. Something outside of me winked my eye for me. I didn't walk from here or to there or left to right or sit down. My energy is being manipulated because I'm not in control of my own self. So our energy is being manipulated. And what do I mean by energy? Everything around you, even yourself, is energy. Nothing exists without energy. Everything is energy. These glasses are energy. This piece of paper is energy. You get the picture? Everything is energy. We're living in what's called a 3D world, and there are different dimensions of worlds. But let's talk about the 3D world and how the 3D world is being manipulated by outside other energies. The 3D world is classified as being pain, suffering, struggling, and a lack of knowing yourself. Now let that sink for just a second. We're living in a world, and you can look around you, all around you, all around you. There's nothing but negativity. Now we're talking about energy and how it's being manipulated. So why is there so much pain, suffering, and struggling in the world? Our energy is being manipulated. And we're going to talk about why that is and what that looks like and what we as individuals need to do about it. There is an algorithm that happens. There is an algorithm that takes place. So what is an algorithm? An algorithm is something that is set, that is something that orchestrates on time. It operates on focus. It operates on patterns. It's like science. And it's been researched that algorithms control what people do because people have been studied. So if you want to create an algorithm, let's just go to Facebook for a second, or social media. That's algorithms, because it knows what time of day you get on social media. There's an algorithm because it tracks you. It knows what you like. It knows what you don't like. And so it's an algorithm that sends to you, being the puppet on the string, it sends to you what it is that you like, what you desire. Now, how does an algorithm operate with pain, suffering, and struggling? I'm glad you asked. When you look at our society, and when you look at how a lot of people are like suffering with different kinds of illnesses, okay? There's an algorithm even in the foods that people like. There's an algorithm even in the types of foods that people like. For example, something salty, something sweet, ethnic foods. You look at it because when they look at the data and when they look at the data of the food market or the food chain, and if you will, the bigger picture, they know what people like. Everything is a cycle. It works on an algorithm. And these algorithms have been man-made or human-made or women-made. It doesn't matter. But at the top of the food chain of the algorithm that I'm talking about is an algorithm that was made by human hands. And these human hands have been made to control people. And as long as you stay controlled and as long as you continue to live in the 3D world of pain, suffering, and struggling, and not asking your question, why is it there is global pain, suffering, and struggling? Why is that? Well, there's an algorithm that's going on that we need to start paying attention to. Algorithms on a global scale and then connect it to yourself. Am I living in the 3D world? Is most of my life sitting in survival, as I talked about before, or am I really living? And if I'm not paying attention to that, then I'm stuck in a 3D world of suffering, pain, and struggle. And I want to throw in work. That's another one. Working, suffering, and struggling, and pain. And if that's your algorithm, if that's where you see yourself at, if you're not evolving the way that you know within yourself that you should be evolving, or this feeling that you should be doing something great, or this feeling that you should be doing something better, or this feeling that you're just stagnated, check yourself out and ask yourself, have I bought into the outside algorithms that are outside of me, and have I become a puppet on the string? Am I just going through emotion or going around in the same circle, and I'm coming back to the same place that I was at before? You're dealing with the algorithm, and you're dealing with the algorithm that is controlling you as a puppet on the string, and you're not controlling yourself. And once you step out of the algorithm, because you start to ask questions yourself, and you begin to go inside of yourself, and you ask yourself, who am I for real? Why am I here? What am I supposed to be doing? And when you begin to ask those questions like that, and when you begin to sit with yourself and you begin to tell yourself the truth, you begin to realize this. Now I'm going to create my own algorithm. And I'm going to connect my algorithms to something that's called the universal laws, called cause and effect. Cause and effect is this. If I do this, I'm going to do this. If I do this, this is what's going to happen. Because now you're predicting your own destiny versus living in the fate of someone else who have created algorithms to control the masses of people on this globe, because many have not figured out that there is such a thing called the 3D level. And there are different levels. Most people in our society have not moved to the 4D level, and that's where you begin to think for yourself. And not only do you begin to think for yourself, you begin to move in the light of what you see in your imagination. And you're not stuck on working, suffering, struggling, and pain. And you may say, Essence Evolve, we do need to work. And yes, we do. But you can be stuck in work when you allow work to control you like a puppet on a string. And a puppet on a string means this. You don't take time to rest. You don't take time to sit with yourself. You allow this system to tell you when you can celebrate anything. And let's just go down from January to December. Puppet on a string. We have these algorithms because it's all about capitalism. It's all about economics. It's all about those who are at the top of the food chain have learned how to use us as society as puppets on the string. So go down your whole list of from January to December, and you'll see these algorithms in place. They tell you when to celebrate certain holidays. A holidays to you should be anytime you choose it to be. As a matter of fact, when you create your own algorithms, you create your own holidays because you can give it your own name. You see, these other algorithms, these holidays, they've been created by someone else. And if you do your research, you would get the origin of many of the holidays. Then let's shift it on down because summer is getting ready to end, depends on where you are. And where I am, I'm in 4 seasons, and the summer is going to be ending, and then we're going to move into fall. Hold that point right there for a second, Essence Evolve. Now, fall has not arrived yet because of this algorithm knows how people think, knows how people behave, because it distracts you through algorithms. Fall hasn't arrived yet, but in most stores, capitalism has already planted things in the stores, and fall is not even here yet. And I have seen in some stores, they have already moved it towards Thanksgiving and also Christmas. You see, these are the algorithms, because unless you clip the strings and become no more of the puppet on the string, and you create your own algorithm, and to thine own self be true, and as you find you inside of you, you move out of the 3D and stop working, suffering, and struggling. Now, and pain. And let me say something about the pain. When we look at a lot of the foods that we eat, when we look at a lot of the things that we look at, when we look at a lot of the unhealthy behaviors, and I'm not knocking any of that because I can't talk, as I said, any further than I've walked. But when I began to look at how I was living in a 3D world, and I was a puppet on a string, and I was helping to remain a puppet on a string because I was not thinking, because I had no idea until I did research, and I continue to do research on this algorithm. And an algorithm that is outside of myself, that is human made, its goal is to keep you as a puppet on the string, to keep you in a lockdown mindset, and to keep you unconscious of your own self, and to keep you dependent on an algorithm that you didn't know existed, because an algorithm is invisible, but it controls you. So I will leave you with this today. Recognize that everything is energy, and that your entire being, your mind, your body, and your spirit is being manipulated by other outside energies. There are many people who have done studies on energy, and they've done studies on how to manipulate your mind. You're sitting there, you're watching Netflix or whatever you're watching, or a commercial come on. You're not even hungry. But see, that algorithm knows how to kick in because it knows that you're still a puppet on a string. It has to put these things in what you're watching. And it's all about economics. It's all about money. It's all about capitalism. And before you know it, that algorithm has created another string on you called control, called programming, that you're in the kitchen and you're like, well, I wasn't even hungry, but see, that's an algorithm, and you're being controlled. This whole global society is being controlled by an algorithm that has studied human behavior. So it's time to start clipping the strings. And when you go inside of you and you decide what it is that you like, when you go inside of you, within you, and you decide what it is you want, when you go within, when you find you inside of you, you start to reprogram even the more. And old things, as far as what we have believed or what you have believed, even if it's tribal, if your family has believed that, if your community has believed that, old things have passed away, because guess what? When you clip those strings, and when you clip all of those strings, and you begin to tell yourself the truth, and you have recognized that you live in a culture or in a global society that has held and continue to hold people as a puppet on a string because it knows your energy and it knows how to manipulate your energy to get what the intention was of those who put you on a string, who created a puppet, who created a puppet, who created puppets. They already knew. So return back to yourself. Return back to your own authentic self. Return back to the imagination in your mind that you saw as a child. Return back to yourself and no longer be a puppet on a string. No longer be controlled by the algorithms that are outside of you. Everything is energy. You are in control of your own destiny. It's called choice. So this is Essence Evolve, finding you inside of you. And until the next time, start cutting those strings. Start freeing your mind, your body, and your spirit. Until the next time.